I'm sorry, I'm late. Okay, resume. Okay, just give me a minute. Bhakti Aloka. Okay, we are somewhere in Bhakti Aloka. Okay, I'm a bit lost here. Where in Bhakti Aloka? Okay, where are we? Okay, I think this is where I should resume from. Just give me a minute. Yes. Yeah, I think this is where. Okay. Also, in the conclusion of Haribhakti Vilas, it is stated, Avashyam tani sarvani tesham. Okay, I read this. The first symptom of one who has attained Shraddha is surrender to the feet of Lord Krishna. That surrender is of two types. Okay. For the householders and for the renunciates. Sri Haribhakti Vilas mentioned only those rules that are meant for householders. That is why observances such as Shiva Chaturdashi are given therein. The surrendered renunciate should follow whichever observances are appropriate for renunciates. Both the householder and the renunciate should become unalloyed surrendered souls, surrendered, while advancing on the path of sadhana. Then their rules are only slightly different. At that stage, they attain ultimate surrender due to advancement in sadhana. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Jnananishto virakto va, madbhakto va, anapekshakaha, salingan ashmam vachare, avidhi gocharaha. A learned transcendentalist dedicated to the cultivation of knowledge and thus detached from external objects, or my devotee, who is detached even from desire for liberation. Notice there are two types. One is a transcendentalist dedicated to the cultivation of knowledge and thus detached from external objects. Another is my devotee who is detached even from desire for liberation. Both neglect those duties, material duties. Both neglect those duties based on external rituals or paraphernalia. Thus, their conduct is beyond the range of rules and regulations. Ekantitam gatanam tu Shri Krishna Charanabja Yoho Bhakti Swatah Pravarteta Tadvignai Kim Vratadibhihi. When one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, literally, Ekanta Bhakta, single pointed, then devotion is spontaneously established in his heart. What then is the need to observe rituals that simply obstruct one's devotion service? न मयि एकांत भक्तानां गुणदोषोद्भवा गुणाः साधूनां समचित्तानां बुद्धेः परमोपेयुषाम्. Material piety and sin which arise from the good and evil of this world cannot exist with my unalloyed devotees, who, being free from material hankering, maintain steady spiritual consciousness in all circumstances. Indeed, such devotees have achieved me, the Supreme Lord, who am beyond anything that can be conceived by material intelligence. In the Haribhakti Vilas it is stated, Evam ekanti naam prayah kirtanam smaranam prabho purvatam parama pritya krityam anyan na rochate videshveva nityeshu pravartante swayam hite ityat ekanti naam bhati mahatmyam likitam hitat. The devotees whose minds are fixed on chanting and remembering Krishna's glories and pure love have no taste for activities prescribed for lower stages. Although they are not attached or bound to follow the prescribed rules of the scriptures, they sometimes follow out of their own accord. This is nicely explained in the 8th verse of the Upadeshamrita. Tannama rupa charita anadi sukirtananusmritya kramena rasana manasi niyojya tishtan vrajet tadanuraye jananugami kalam nayeda kilomitrupadesha saram. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. These are the glories of the pure devotees. That is, their glories are not diminished by neglecting others' prescribed rules. Notice this, others' prescribed rules. The purport is that exalted devotees follow whatever rules of the lower stages they like. The Jnanis follow the Varnashma Dharma of the Karmis by their own will, not by rule or obligation. Similarly, the devotees, out of their sweet will, also follow the rules of the Karmis and Jnanis for some purpose. Of course, these devotees are the Ekanta devotees, the Nirapeksha devotees, the devotees who have given up everything other than engagement in Panchanga Bhakti, one or more items of Sadhana Bhakti, 64 items of Bhakti. They are only interested in that. They are not. They have given up family life. They have given up even the duties of the Jnana system. This means that although they are not obliged to follow the prescriptions and prohibitions, they do so on their own accord. The topmost pure devotees are also not considered overly attached to regulations when they follow the rules of karma, jnana, and ordinary sadhana bhakti. Independently, they are engaged in the unalloyed devotional service of Lord Krishna. The practicing devotee who gives up niyama agraha, over eagerness for rules and regulations at lower levels, but spontaneously follows the rules, achieves auspicious results. The conclusion is that the practitioner attains a higher level as a result of following the rules prescribed according to his qualification. He should not maintain attachment for the rules of his previous level. Keeping this instruction always in mind, he should always engage in chanting and remembering Lord Krishna and thus continue advancing to higher levels. In the process of Namashriya Bhakti taught by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in addition to constantly avoiding sinful activities as defined by him, as well as the offenses to the deity, as well as the offenses to the holy name, one should increase the quality and quantity of chanting. That is very important. That is what is meant by Namashriya Bhakti. Holy name centered devotional service to Lord Krishna. And when we do that, we should not be eager to follow rules and regulations that are too high for us or too low for us. Similarly, we should not be eager to be stuck in our position. We should be eager to move up. One step at a time, one step at a time. For all of that, we require guidance. If we are sincere and our ultimate goal is to attain full purity in Krishna consciousness and we are willing to pay the price, Krishna will arrange for appropriate Vaishnava association to pull us up. Jana Sangha, association with worldly minded persons. The word Jana means both male and female human beings. Rupa Goswami has written in the Bhakti Rasamrita who that's a typing mistake. It is Sadhau. Sadhau Sangha Swato Vare. A devotee should associate with devotees who are more advanced. Generally, the practicing devotees are superior to karmis and jnanis in all respects. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punyam karmanam te bandhamohanir mukta bhajante mam dridham vrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Therefore, devotees are naturally pure. There is no possibility for them to commit sin. Kanishta Vaishnava, Madhyama Vaishnava, Uttama Vaishnava. Even the Kanishta Vaishnava, Mrityunjaya Thakur, writes elsewhere, does not even have a taste for committing any sinful activity. Not only does he avoid all sinful activities described in the Dharma Shastras, he does not even have a taste for them. So we can contemplate on them and check whether we come under the label of devotee as defined by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They are not less intelligent like the karmis and jnanis because they have taken shelter at the lotus feet of the omniscient and supreme Lord. Faith in the devotion service of Lord Krishna is achieved as a result of many lifetimes of pious activities. Of course, faith, Shraddha, Adav Shraddha. That Shraddha refers to unbreakable faith in all aspects of Krishna consciousness. So that unbreakable faith in the devotional service of Lord Krishna is achieved as a result of many lifetimes of pious activities. So there is no doubt that the devotees' activities are pure. From faith, the desire to associate with devotees naturally arises. Madhu Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangaha. By associating with devotees, everything is achieved. The glories of Sadhu Sangha is mentioned in the Adi Purana as follows. Ye me bhakta janah partha Name bhaktascha te janah mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas te me bhakta tamamata. Lord Krishna told Arjuna, those who are my direct devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my servant are actually my devotees. Regarding the need to associate with devotees, it is said, Darshana Spashanalapa Saha Vasadi Bhikshana Bhakta Paranti Krishnasya Sakshad Api Pukkasham. Even an outcast becomes completely pure by seeing, touching, conversing with, or living with Krishna's devotee for even a moment. Srimad Bhagavatam states, Naisham Matestavat Durukramangrim Sprishatyanartha Namo Yadartha Mahiya Sampada Rajobhishekam Nishkinchananam Vrinitayavat. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination. Persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one be freed from material contamination. Scriptures often state that without the association of the Lord's devotees, Bhakti Devi does not manifest in the heart. Narottam Das Thakur has also stated, Chhadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Payache Keba. Who has ever been delivered from Maya without engaging in the service of pure Vaishnavas? The scriptures often state, it is most necessary for sadhakas to associate with devotees. Therefore, in this context, the word Jana Sangha is understood to mean persons who are devoid of devotion. Jana Sangha literally means association with people. But in this context, it means association with people who are devoid of bhakti. That is why Srila Rupa Prabhu has included the instruction to give a worldly association as one of the limbs of devotional service. It's one of the bhakti angas, one of the items of sadhana bhakti, to give up worldly association. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said, Sangatyago vidure, Sangatyago vidurena bhagavat mukhe janai. You should have a dash there. One who desires to attain devotion to Krishna should carefully give up the association of worldly people. Literally, it means one should abandon the association of people who are averse to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From a distance, from a great distance, vidure, from a distance. That means the devotee should not engage in the activities mentioned in the 4th verse of the Upadeshamrita with worldly people. 4th verse. This offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind and confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Activities like talking with worldly people in the course of one's work is not considered association. When the same activities are done with affection for someone, then that is considered association with that person. Every practicing devotee should know the various kinds of worldly people. One minute. Every practicing devotee should know the various kinds of worldly people. Therefore, we are hereby most unwillingly enumerating these people. These worldly people are of 7 kinds: Mayavadis and atheists, sense enjoyers, those who are fond of the sense enjoyers, women, womanizers, the hypocritically devout, and the ill-behaved, foolish outcasts. The Mayavadis do not accept the eternal name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Most of what goes on under the label of Hinduism is actually Mayavad. They consider the living entity as a product of Maya. Therefore, in their opinion, the living entity has no eternal existence. They do not consider devotion service eternal. Rather, they consider it a temporary method to cultivate knowledge. All the Mayavadi conclusions are opposed to the principles of devotional service. Therefore, by associating with Mayavadis, one's devotion gradually disappears. Sri Swarup Damodar gave the following instruction in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Buddhi rashta hoila tomar gopaler sange Mayava shunibari upujila range Vaishnav hoiya jeba shariraka bhashya sune Sevya sevaka bhav chhadi apnare Ishwar mani. You have lost your intelligence in the association of Gopal. And therefore, you are eager to hear the Mayavada philosophy. But a Vaishnava listens to the Shariraka Bhashya. That is the commentary of Shankaracharya, the Mayavada commentary upon the Vedanta Sutras. He gives up the Krishna conscious attitude that the Lord is the master and the living entity is his servant. Instead, he considers himself the Supreme Lord. Those who do not accept the Supreme Lord, who is glorified by the Vedas, are called Nastikas or atheists. Their minds have been polluted by false arguments. Therefore, one's devotion is lost in their association. So therefore, we should avoid the association of Mayavadis. Association with sense enjoyers is harmful. Those who are always busy associating with sense enjoyment are filled with blasphemy, envy, and violence. quarrel, argument, and hankering for sense enjoyment is their life, the more they enjoy, the more their thirst for sense enjoyment increases. The sense enjoyers do not get time to speak or hear topics of Krishna. Whether they engage in pious activities or sinful activities, the sense enjoyers always remain far from knowledge of the self. Therefore, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Vishayir anna khaile molin hoy mon. Molin mon hoile na hai Krishna smaran. When one eats food offered by a materialistic man, one's mind becomes contaminated. And when the mind is contaminated, one is unable to think of Krishna properly. A lot of time we are unable to make spiritual progress, or we factually regress in Krishna consciousness because of this kind of affectionate, loving association with sense enjoyers. Very dangerous. We cannot do good to ourselves in the long run, nor can we do good to them in the long run. Those persons who externally engage in sensual activities and accept sense objects just to maintain body and soul together, but internally engage in their constitutional position as servants of Krishna, are not counted amongst the sense enjoyers who are attached to the fruits of their activities. But on the other hand, it's not that just because somebody is carrying out his duties in a restricted manner in order to maintain themselves, in order to progress in Krishna consciousness, such a person should not be misunderstood to be a sense enjoyer. The sense enjoyers and persons fond of sense enjoyers are both worldly minded. In India, this is a major challenge because when someone takes to Krishna consciousness, one's extended family members and others, they may be sense enjoyers or persons fond of sense enjoyers. And devotees need to learn how to minimally associate with them while they practice and try to propagate Krishna consciousness. Persons who are fond of sense enjoyers are themselves also sense enjoyers because they always think of sense enjoyment within their hearts. So the sense enjoyers are engaged in sense enjoyment. But the persons fond of sense enjoyers, they may not appear to be engaged in sense enjoyment. Online. Okay. But the persons who are fond of sense enjoyers, they may not externally appear to be engaged in sense enjoyment, but they always hope for it, wait for it, are eager for it, and consider themselves very fortunate when they attain it. So this is, to associate with them is also dangerous because sangat sanjayate kamaha. From association we develop desires. There are some people who are not themselves sense enjoyers, but they take pleasure in associating with sense enjoyers. Their association should also be renounced because they will soon become sense enjoyers and bad association themselves. There are two types of sense enjoyers: those who are extremely attached to sense enjoyment and devotees who are attached to sense enjoyment. So you have non-devotees attached to sense enjoyment, extremely attached to sense enjoyment, and devotees who are attached to sense enjoyment. Associating with those who are extremely attached should be totally rejected. Devotees who are attached to sense enjoyment are also of two types: those who have included the Lord as a part of their sense enjoyment, and those who have kept the Lord in the center of their sense enjoyment. Association with the latter type is preferable to association with the former. Although those who engage in sense enjoyment according to religious codes are better than the simple sense enjoyers, still the practicing devotee should not associate with them until they become devotees. Simply by wearing the dress of a renunciate, one does not become a devotee free from sense gratification because renunciates often collect and save objects of sense enjoyment. On the other hand, many persons resemble sense enjoyers but utilize everything in the worship of Lord Hari in the mode of detachment. Considering all this, the practicing devotee should give up the association of sense enjoyers and those fond of them and engage in devotional service in a secluded place, or, if he is fortunate, in the association of genuine devotees. So, if he is fortunate, he should be able to associate with genuine devotees, genuine Vaishnavas. Otherwise, he should just engage in devotional service and seclusion. Do not associate with women. On the other hand, when a woman is engaged in sadhana bhakti, she should not associate with men. Gender separation. Associating with the opposite sex is very inauspicious for the advancing devotee. It is also important to note that there is no place for homosexuality and so on in the attempt to become a pure devotee. It has been defined as asuric. These have been noted in the Dharma Shastras and even the Artha Shastra as not just inauspicious activities, but activities which are criminal and punishable. Therefore, Prabhupada has said that homosexuality indicates a demoniac appetite, tamasic. Heterosexual activities within the bounds of dharma can be accepted as rajasic. From rajoguna, at least with difficulty, one can come to sattva, but from tamoguna to come up, very difficult. Therefore, it should be given up. It should just be given up. Tamasic activity should be given up. Rajasic activities, we should try to get out of it. There are two types of men and women. When a man and woman are married according to religious principles, there is no sin in their touching and talking with each other. Rather, this touching and talking is beneficial because of the scriptural sanction. There is, however, no provision for illusory activities other than the execution of reciprocal duties. I know someone who repeatedly quotes this sentence. When a man and woman are married according to religious principles, there is no sin in their touching and talking with each other. Rather, this touching and talking is beneficial because of scriptural sanction. But there is complete silence about the next sentence. If they are illusioned by each other and they engage in activities other than prescribed duty, then that is called Stri Sangha and Purusha Sangha. Stri Sangha for the man and Purusha Sangha for the woman, or association with the opposite sex. For those who are engaged in worshipping Krishna, such association yields inauspicious results. For those who are engaged in worshipping Krishna, such association yields inauspicious results. If either one is guilty of such association, then they become an obstacle for the other party. If the wife is helpful in the discharge of devotion service, then the fault of Stri Sangha does not arise. But if the wife is an impediment in the discharge of devotion service, then one should carefully give up her association. We should consider the behavior of the great Vaishnava Acharya, Srimad Ramanujacharya. Srimad Ramanujacharya sent his wife to her parents' home after she offended his guru's wife. He then took sannyas in this connection. When there is no marital relationship and one converses with a woman with evil intentions, then this is Stri Sangha. And anything beyond conversation is obviously Stri Sangha. In all caps. That is sinful and detrimental to devotional service. Same thing goes for a woman also. Unless we follow the four regulative principles, it is not possible to make any tangible spiritual progress. Just no question of these things. When a so-called devotee man or a so-called devotee woman calls up a member of the opposite sex and says, "I'm lonely, please come to my bedroom." These things have happened. Absolute crap. Absolute crap. This is pseudo-devotee. It's just nonsense. Just be honest and say, look, finding it difficult. Please help me in Krishna consciousness. And that, a woman should not ask a man to help me. Take help from her own husband. Vice versa. It's a load crap. That is sinful and detrimental to devotional service. Considering these points, the practicing devotee should very carefully give up the association of women and persons fond of women. Much of this nonsense comes because we're watching movies and TV shows and sitting and studying Facebook. That is just asat sangam. Totally unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. We have enough difficulties in life. Enough. We don't need to add to it. We're very, very careful about all these things. Considering these points, the practicing devotee should very carefully give up the association of women and persons fond of women. Grihatyagis should not be eager to preach to women. Women should not be eager to preach to men, especially renounced men. The female mind is very attracted to the six opulences. Man is initially attracted to a woman's external beauty. A woman is initially attracted to a man's subtle body. Mind. And then after they get together, then the man is no longer interested in her body. He becomes irritated by looking at her mind. Vice versa. The woman who was previously attracted to the man's mind, no longer interested in his mind. He sees his body. This is Anyavilashita of a very vulgar type. Therefore, we should keep away from all this. Just keep away from all this. Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj used to say, Chacha Atma Pran ke bacha. Bengali proverb. Save yourself before trying to save others. That's the implication. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Na tathasya bhavemoho vandaschanya prasangataha yoshit sangha yatha pumso yatha tat sangi sangataha. The infatuation and bondage which accrue to a man from attachment to any other object is not as complete as that resulting from attachment to a woman or to the fellowship of men who are fond of women. This matter is so serious. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has very elaborately discussed this matter. And he wanted the devotees to be sufficiently aware about this in his commentary to Chaitanya Bhagavat. Adi Kanda, first chapter. Is it here? Here. Jayastri Sangha Muni Gone Korean Nindan. Taravo Rame Rase Korean Stoma. Sages condemn the association of women. Yet they glorify Lord Balaram's association with the cowherd girls in the Rasa dance. So he has commented on this portion. Sages condemn the association of women. Very elaborately. About 10 pages of scriptural quotations. Just on that. He takes you throughout the whole Bhagavatam. Very dangerous place. Yeah. Prabhupada is also remarked. The word pramada sangha dushitaha indicates that apart from all other contamination, if one simply remains attached to a woman, that single contamination will be sufficient to prolong one's miserable material existence. Consequently, in Vedic civilization, one is trained from the beginning to give up attachment for women. The first stage of life is brahmachari, the second stage grihastha, the third stage vanaprastha, and the fourth stage sannyas. All these stages are devised to enable one to detach himself from the association of women. For a householder devotee, touching and speaking to his wife in the above mentioned manner is not detrimental to devotional service, but for a renunciate, there cannot be any type of talking or touching a woman. Otherwise, his practice of devotional service will be completely spoiled. Association with such a deviant person should be totally rejected. Everything has to be done very carefully. Then, the hypocritically devout. One should give up the association of dharma dvajis, the flag waving pseudo-dharmic people. One should give up the association of dharma dvajis, the hypocritically devout, with special care. Those who accept the external signs of dharma but do not actually follow dharma are called dharma dvajis. There are two types of dharma dvajis, the hypocrites and the fools, or the cheaters and the cheated. Both are hypocritically devout. Such hypocrisy in Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda is also condemned. In devotional service, this hypocrisy ruins everything. Better associate with sense enjoyers. For in this whole world, there is no worse association than the Dharma Dvaji. The deceitful Dharma Dvajis accept the signs of Dharma with the desire to cheat the world, and to fulfill their crooked desires, they cheat the foolish by helping them in their rascaldom. Some of them become gurus and others become disciples, and by trickery they accumulate wealth, women, false prestige, and material assets. If one gives up the association of crooked hypocrites, then he can honestly engage in devotional service. Honest worship is the only way to attain Krishna's mercy, as stated. Yes. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Saveda Dhatu, Paravin Parasya, Duranta Viryasya, Rathanga Pane, Jo Maya Ya Santata Yanu Vritya Bhajetata Pada Saroja Gandham. Only those who render unreserved amayaya, which means honestly, honest, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence. Again in Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma tells Narada, Ya esham sa esha Bhagavan daya yedananta sarvatmana shrita padu yadi nirvyalikam te dustara matitaranti cha deva mayam naisham amaham iti dhi shva shrigal bhakshiye. But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end, by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. Here, Yadinir Vyalikam indicates that they can overcome this, provided they are non-duplicit and non-diplomatic. Externally exhibiting the symptoms of a Vaishnava while internally remaining a Mayavadi is actually pseudo-Vaishnavism or hypocrisy. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a description of Ramdas Vishwas, who was externally a great Vaishnava devoted to Lord Ramachandra. Ashtaprahar Ram Nam Japen Ratri Dine Sarvataji Cholila Jagannatha Shane Ramdas Jabdi Prathamu Prapure Milila Mahaprabhu Adhik Tare Kripa Na Korila Antare Mumukshate Ho Vidya Garvavan Sarvachitta Gyata Prabhu Sarvagya Bhagavan. Ramdas had renounced everything and was going to see Lord Jagannath. While traveling, he chanted the holy name of Lord Ram 24 hours a day. This Ramdas, he had come with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He was serving Raghunath Bhatta Goswami also while traveling to Jagannath Puri. While traveling, he chanted the holy name of Lord Ram 24 hours a day. when Ramdas Vishwas met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord did not show him any special mercy, although this was their first meeting. So the devotees were wonderstruck. What is this? He's chanting the holy name of Lord Ram 24 hours a day. Continuously, the holy name of Ram is coming out of his mouth. Still, Lord Chaitanya didn't bother. What is this? What is this? Within his heart, Ramdas Vishwas was an impersonalist who desired to merge into the existence of the Lord, and he was very proud of his learning. These were two things. Antare mokshute. Internally, he wanted impersonal liberation. Apart from that, he was also very proud of his learning. But externally, he was a humble servant of Raghunath Bhatta, and he was 24/7 chanting the holy names. Since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is omniscient Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can understand the heart of everyone, thus he knew all these things. So from this we understand that externally one may put on a show, or he may be engaged in devotional service with some ulterior motive. So you cannot just go with superficially how it seems to be. You need to examine very carefully, patiently. No need to jump to conclusions. Srila Narottam Das Thakur in his great humility has stated, Kama Krodha Choyjane, Loya Fire Nana Sthane, Vishay Bhunjai Nana Mote, Hoya Mayar Das Kori Nana Yobhilash Tumar Smaron Gelo Dure. Ortholabh ei ashe, Kapot Vaishnava Beshe, Brahmiya Buloye Ghore Ghore. The 6 enemies, beginning with lust and anger, are taking me here and there to enjoy various forms of sense gratification. Being a servant of Maya, I have unlimited desires and have therefore forgotten you. Hoping to gain wealth, I wander from house to house in the dress of a pseudo Vaishnava. Narottam Das Thakur is saying this sarcastically in order to teach. We should not be doing this. Unless one gives up the association of this type of dharma dhvaji, Dhvaji. One cannot purely engage in devotional service. Most of the people in the world are of this type. Therefore, until one gets the opportunity to associate with a pure devotee, he should pass his life engaged in devotional service in a solitary place. Mark that advice. The worship of Krishna is not enhanced by associating with ill-behaved, foolish outcasts. They are naturally attached to eating meat and drinking wine, and they are not situated in Varnashama Dharma. Their character is always unregulated. By associating with ill-behaved persons, the mind becomes polluted. But if those persons become faithful in devotional service by associating with the Vaishnava, and they gradually get a taste for worshipping Krishna with a pure heart, then their association is auspicious. Even if they commit abominable actions for some time due to their former nature, still they are sadhus. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, Apichet Spracharo Bhajati Mam Ananya Bhana. Sadhu Reva Samantavya Samyak Vyavasito Hi Saha. Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvat Shanti Nigachati. Bhavtaya Pratijani Hi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly, because he is properly situated in his determination. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. The purport is this: if the outcasts attain faith in unalloyed devotional service by some good fortune, then it can be said that they have attained the genuine path. Therefore, there is no doubt that in a short time they too will become pure and peaceful by following the footsteps of Haridas Thakur. Ill behavior due to one's nature necessarily remains for some time. Even then, such association cannot be called bad. It's like turning off the switch of the fan which has been running. The fan slows down, it doesn't immediately stop. This is in case they have taken to Shuddha Bhakti. If they have not taken to Shuddha Bhakti, it's not just anyone. And they say, I've turned off the fan switch. Then you look up, and the fan is still running at high speed. What does that mean? The fan is still running at high speed, and you say, I switch it off 5 minutes back. Everything is seen from the result. But on the other hand, when you turn it off, you should not expect that it should abruptly stop. You check whether it is slowing down. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, symptoms of such persons are described as follows: Jata Shraddho Mat Kathasu, Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu, Veda Dukhatmakam Kaman Parityage Pyanishvaraha, Tato Bhajeta Mam Prita, Shraddhalur Dridha Nishchayaha, Jushamanascha Tan Kaman Dukhodar Kamscha Garhayan, Proktena Bhakti Yogena Bhajato Masakran Mune, Kama Hridaya Nashyanti Sarve Mai Hridisthite. Having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy, worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. When an intelligent person engages constantly in worshipping me through loving devotion service as described by me, his heart becomes firmly situated in me. Thus all material desires within the heart are destroyed. Therefore, Lord Krishna had said, Chipram bhavati dharmatma, shashvat shantim nigachat, kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. There is a misconception about these two verses, that until he dies, he can still be addicted to sinful activities, but he should be respected as a Vaishnava, and even a pure Vaishnava. There are some who claim these kind of outrageously irrational things. Very clear. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. In fact, I'll show you Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comment. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. No, Tatrashyasya adharmanaha katham bhajanam tvam grihnasi. So, Lord Krishna anticipates that Arjuna might object, that Arjuna might ask Lord Krishna, how can you accept the devotional service of a person who's adharmic like this? Kama krodadi dushitantah karanena niveditam annapanadikam katham ashnasi. How can you eat the food? How can you consume the food and drinks and so on, which have been offered to you by a person whose mind has been contaminated by lust, anger, and such other evil attitudes? Iti ataha. With this in mind, Lord Krishna speaks. Shipram. Quickly he becomes righteous. Chipram, Shigrameva sa dharmatma bhavati. He quickly becomes a dharmic soul. Atra Kshipram bhavi sa dharmatma shashvat shantim gamishyati iti aprayudhya. Bhavati gachati iti vartamana prayoga. Adharma karananantrameva. See here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out, let me point out the English translation. He says, he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. Instead of saying, he will quickly become righteous and he will attain lasting peace, future tense. Instead of that, Lord Krishna has used the present tense. Chipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. Present tense. So from that, adharma karananantrameva mam anusmritya. He remembers me immediately after engaging in that adharmic activity. Kritanatapa. he immediately he repents. So as soon as he commits sinful activity or an offense, immediately he remembers Krishna and he repents. Oh, I disobeyed the Lord's injunction. Chiprameva dharmatma bhavati. Therefore, he quickly becomes a dharmic soul. Hanta hanta mattulya kopi bhaktalokam kalankayan adhammo nasti. Alas, alas, there is no person as fallen as me who has contaminated the community of the devotees. There's something wrong here. Wait. Something wrong with the typo. Just fix it. These are constant difficulties. This is in Bengali script, but generally it's okay. Where is this? 11th chapter. 10th chapter. Point of view 1. Yes, this is 9.31. Yes. Tadhimma. इति शश्वत् पुनः पुनरपि शान्तिं निर्वेदं नितरां गच्छति. So there's no one who's as fallen as me, contaminating the community of the Vaishnavas. Therefore, dhimma, oh, fie upon me. This is old English. Sorry. In modern English, how do you say it? I'm so stupid. It is shashvat. Again and again. Punah punarapi shantim nirvedam nitaram gacchati. He certainly attains peace. He attains peace means he attains renunciation, detachment. He's not proud. He doesn't think, well, it's okay, it just happened. Sorry. These things happen. Not like that. No, it is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. I'm the most fallen. There's no one equal to me amongst the fallen who contaminates the community of Vaishnavas. Therefore, I'm most fallen. You can condemn me. Dhik is a Sanskrit word which indicates I'm in a very outrageous condition. Yadva. Another name. Kita samayad anantaram tasya bhavi dharmatvatvam. After how much time will he become a dharmic soul? Tadanim api sukshma rupena vartate. Evam tan manasi bhakteh pravesha. It is used in the present tense that he becomes righteous soul, because even at that time, in a subtle form, that nature of a pure dharmic soul has entered into him, in his mind, because bhakti has entered into him. Yatha pite mahoshadi sati tadanim yat kala paryantam nashyat avasto jwaradaho vishadaho va vartamanopi na ganyata iti dvani. So it is hinted that just as when one drinks a great medicine for some time, the heat of his fever, or the fever caused due to taking some poisonous substance, still exists in its diminishing stage. It's going away. When you take medicine, you don't immediately become cured, but it's diminishing. But it's not, you don't take it seriously. So like that, his adharmic, external adharmic nature, which is diminishing, it is not taken seriously. That is hinted here. Tatascha tasya bhaktasya duracharatva gamakah kama krodhadya utkhat damshro ragadamshavat akinchit karayava gyaya iti anudhvani. There's a further hint that regarding such a devotee, the various indications of evil conduct, such as lust and anger, they are insignificant. Just like the bite of a snake whose fangs have been removed. Ateva shashvat sarvadeva shantim kama krodhat upashamam itaram gacchati atishayena prapnoti. Therefore, at all times, he becomes peaceful, which means he becomes relieved of lust, anger, and other such evils. And he attains this fully, absolutely, abundantly. He attains this status. Iti duracharatva dashayam api sa shuddhantah karaneva uchyate iti bhava. So it is implied that even in that status, when his evil conduct is continuing, still his mind is pure. And then he explains why he says, Kaunteya pratijanihi. Now, Kaunteya, you pronounce, you utter, my devotee never perishes. Why doesn't he say, why doesn't he promise that? Instead, he says, Kaunteya, you promise that my devotee never perishes. That is because he himself, the Lord himself, sometimes he breaks his promises. Like, for instance, he broke his promise in order to fulfill the promise of Bhishma Dev. Therefore, he made Arjuna promise, because Arjuna will never ever break his promise. Lord Krishna, considering the situation of his exalted devotees, he sometimes breaks his promises, but Arjuna is not like that. Arjuna never breaks his promise. Okay, let's head back to our original discussion. Okay, so thus all material desires within the heart are destroyed. His heart becomes firmly situated in me, thus all material desires within the heart are destroyed. One more paragraph. The conclusion is that the association of pious and sinful persons who are bereft of Krishna consciousness is undesirable. On the other hand, the association of persons who are sinful yet devoted to the Lord is desirable. What sinful means that sinful activities are diminishing and they are not being intentionally committed. Just accidentally it is. Unintentionally these things have occurred. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu quotes the following words spoken by Maharshi Katyayana in the Katyayana Samhita. Varam hota vaha jwala panjarantar vyavasthiti na shauri chitta vimukhan jana samvasa vaishyasvam. It is better to accept the miseries of being engaged in bars. Encased within bars and surrounded by burning flames than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is very great hardship. There is a whole book on Vaishnava, criticism of Vaishnavas. In which Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about the different statuses of devotees and how to deal with them. Please do not criticize the Vaishnava by considering his defects that are being diminished towards destruction. They are diminished and they are moving towards destruction. defects that were of his past before he took the pure devotional service to Krishna. Because Shri Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, the same 2 verses, day by day, all those very abominable activities that were second nature to him and which had been continuing in him from a time before pure devotion service arose in him, diminished by the strength of pure devotion service and become fully destroyed within a very short span of time. If one discusses these defects without a good purpose in doing so, he commits the offense of criticizing a Vaishnava. Please do not criticize a Vaishnava, even upon noticing a defect that has befallen him by providence. In this regard, Karabhajana says, entering into the heart of one who worships his lotus feet, who is very dear to him and who has given up his inclination to others, the Supreme Lord Hari removes all sinful activities that have somehow occurred to him. Without a good purpose, if one discusses a defect that has come about by providence, he engages in the offense of criticizing a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava cannot have any defect other than the above mentioned 4 kinds of defects, including false accusations leveled on him. Those who do have defects other than the above mentioned 3 kinds of defects have not been referred to in the scriptures as Vaishnava. Criticism of Vaishnavas is an offense. Criticism of other living beings is a sin. He who is a Vaishnava has no taste for such a sin too. It is interesting. Vaishnava Ninda, you can download it off the internet or you can purchase it. Interesting book. Okay, let me look at some questions here. Hare Krishna. Why people? Okay, Okay, why are people of the same gender attracted to each other? Tamoguna. Tamoguna, it happens. How they can come out of this situation? I've seen some sincere people, they want to come out of that situation. They should increase the quality and quantity of chanting. And I can give some practical ideas on how this can be done. First of all, sit down and either look at the deities while chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra loudly. Pronounce the 32 syllables correctly. Remember the meaning of the mantra. My dear energy of Krishna, my dear Krishna, please engage me in your devotional service. Either look at the deities, or in Harinam Chintamani, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also allows you to close your ears and your eyes. I would suggest maybe, if possible, in a non-distracting environment, close your eyes and chant Hare Krishna. Of course, this is just a regular process of Namashriya Bhakti, which the same thing will certainly work on this. There is no sinful activity which you cannot get rid of by the process of engaging in Harinam Sankirtan, by uttering Krishna's holy names. So the same thing applies to them. And if I'm 200% sure, if they engage in the process of Krishna consciousness properly, as stated in Upadeshamrita, as stated in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in the portion relevant for us, then certainly this will go away. Due to extreme lust, one is attracted to one's own gender, but progresses. I have seen the research work done by someone. Unfortunately, that someone was unable to give me that research work in hand. But what was done by one Mataji, devotee lady, in which she pointed out that homosexuality is purely scientific research. He pointed out with evidence that homosexuality is not genetic. It's not like that. It's just a status. It's a status, and people have gotten out of it through prayer to God from various religious traditions. They have gotten out of it. Not propaganda. Prabhupada clearly says one can get out of it. It requires hard work naturally. So in a atmosphere free from distraction, sit down, close your eyes, chant Hare Krishna mantra. Initially, do that. This is definitely higher quality chanting. Try to hear at least one round. Then try to do 2 rounds like this, 3 rounds like this. So you may chant 16 first, 1 round out of 16 rounds, at least 1 round chant like this. Then after some time, you can try 2 rounds, then 3 rounds, 4 like that. Try to increase. Then increase the quality of. This is increasing the quality, but increase the quantity also. Then you'll see the effect. And during the day, let us try to avoid sinful activities, offenses, avoid situations which trigger engagement in sinful activities, and so on. And this is the main activity. This is the main activity, and it certainly works. Certainly it works. Prabhupada is very confident, and this has been applied. Certainly it works. But you have to work hard. Danavir Goswami Maharaj has also stated that he has helped some devotees who were in this condition. They took to intense devotional service, and they got out of it, and they got married to the opposite gender, and they're leading stable family lives. But it requires intensity. It requires intensity. Tivrena bhakti yogena, not just diluted bhakti yoga. That will not work. Tivra bhakti yoga. Actually, now I remember. Yes, there's another place. Where is that? Yes. This is another place. Yes. Yeah. Okay, this is Sadrisham. Okay, let me take it out. Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakritir jnanavan api prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the 3 modes. What can repression accomplish? Krishna Chakravarti Thakur. First, he begins by presenting an objection, an anticipated objection. This is Lord Krishna anticipating that Arjuna might object. Nanu, Ragya iva tava Parameshwarasya matam anutishtanto Rajakritadiva Patkritat Nigrahat Kim na Bibhya, not Bibhati, it is Bibhyati. Why is it that a person who is not carrying out your instructions, and you are the Supreme Lord, you are like a king, and why isn't he afraid of breaking your instructions? Just as one would be afraid of the punishment given by a king, why is he not afraid of punishment given by you? Satyam. Yes, that's true. ये खलु इंद्रियाणि चारयन्तः वर्तन्ते. Those people who let their senses roam around, they vivekinopi ragyah parameshwarasya cha shasanam mantum na shaknuvanti. They are not able to accept the commandments of the king and the Supreme Lord, even if they are people of discrimination, even if they are intelligent, they know. Therefore, that is their nature. Ityaha sadrishamiti. With that in mind, he speaks this verse. Jnanavan api evam pape krite satyevam narako bhavishyatyevam rajadando bhavishyati evam dur yashascha bhavishyati iti vivekavan api. Even though he is in knowledge, even though he has discrimination, that if I engage in this sinful activity, then I have to go to hell. I will be punished by the government. I will thus become infamous. So even though he may have such discriminating knowledge, स्वस्याः प्रकृतेः चिरन्तन पाप अभ्यास उत्थ दुःख भारस्य सदृशम् अनुरूपमेव चेष्टते. He definitely acts in accordance with his nature, which means by the burden of distress due to long-term habitual engagement in sinful activities. Because of that. Because he cannot bear it. He cannot bear it. It's just too sinful. It's breaking his head, his or her head. So therefore, tasmat, therefore, prakritim, swabhavam, yanti, anusaranti, therefore they are following their own natures. Tatra nigraha, tat shastra dwara, matkritaha, rajakritaha va. So then, repression, either through the scriptures coming from me, or repression by a king or a government. Tena ashuddha chittan uktalakshanah ishkama karma yogaha shuddha chittan jnana yogascha samskartam prabodhayitum cha shaknoti. So these things, what can this repression accomplish? Therefore, nishkama karma yoga, as already defined, has the capacity to clean those with impure hearts. Jnana yoga is capable of cleaning those with pure hearts. Natu atyanta shuddha chitta. But neither of these two can cleanse those of extremely impure contamination in their minds. Contaminated means you have a desire to enjoy this material world within Vedic Dharma. You want to fulfill the urges of Vacho Vegam, Manaso Krodha Vegam, Dikva Vegam, Udro Pasta Vegam within Vedic Dharma. That is called contaminated mind. Pure mind refers to other types of contamination. Contamination, I mean, you have no desire for sinful sense enjoyment, you have no desire for sinless sense enjoyment, but you have other kinds of obstacles in spiritual realization. So Jnana Yoga can deal with those, and Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga can purify the lower level, the rajasic contaminations. But those with extreme contamination in their mind, those tamoguna, they have asuric taste, like that psycho Mrigari. He wants to half kill animals. What is that? It's some psychotic nonsense it is. So what about Nishkama Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga cannot purify those whose minds are excessively contaminated. Kintu tanapi papishta swabhava yadrichikamat kripotthad bhakti yogeva udhartum prabhavet. But even those people of most sinful natures, they can be delivered by Bhakti Yoga that has arisen by my mercy, Yadrikshika, out of their good fortune, somehow, if they get my mercy. Krishna's mercy is deposited with his perfect pure devotees who decide when to give it and so on. So, if somehow or other that happens, then they can be purified. Yaduttam Skande, as stated in Skanda Purana, Aho Dhanyosi Devashe Kripaya Yasyate Khana Nichop Yut Pulako Lebhe Lubthako Ratim Achyate. Ratim Achyate. Oh, you are so glorious, so fortunate, oh Devarshi Narada. By your mercy, just for a moment, a very low-class hunter has become ecstatic with his hair standing on end with attraction for Lord Achyuta. This indicates that when they engage in absolute devotional service, that Mrigari, you carefully examine what kind of devotional service did he engage in. Narada Muni did not tell him, okay, today you come, you do some service, clean the pots, and go away and do whatever you're doing. No, nothing like that. You stop every damn thing you're doing. Only do Bhakti Yoga. That's it. That's it. No earning money, nothing. You engage in Bhakti Yoga 24/7. That's the only medicine for you. And it works. If you accept the medicine, it works. Of course, for people who are sinful or with sinful background, or with people still with sinful nature, disturbing their minds, sinful desires, and so on, they will find the engagement in Bhakti Yoga to be very, very bitter. They like it to some extent, but too much of Bhakti will be too difficult for them. But there's no other solution for them. No other solution. It's the only way. See, Prabhupada also engaged devotees in this. Prabhupada did not promote his congregation and all this. Give up everything. Engage in devotion service. Everyone, even Grihasthas, fully engage in devotion service. Give a complete program. Even for children, what study? Study Krishna consciousness. That's all. This is the only thing. Everything else is useless. That's all. But he accepted. You see, Mrigari accepted. Mrigari did not say, no, Guruji, I need to be practical. What practical? Psychotic, tamasic nonsense. What practical? People who have these kind of suric desires, they just need to surrender. That's the only thing they need to do. It's the only way for them. But they'll be rapidly purified. Rapidly they'll be purified. Prabhupada in teachings of Lord Chaitanya says, Mrigari, within a few months, he came to that high position. Became ecstatic. Became so pure. Completely moral. Moral in every manner. More than that, completely devoted. Character completely changed. Jagai Madhai. We all say that Jagai Madhai got delivered. Jagai Madhai, they surrendered unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's a fact. And then Nityananda Prabhu took charge of them. It comes in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu ordered them to chant 128 rounds every day and do Vaishnava Seva. They did it. Nityananda Prabhu never made them heroes in Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan mission. But the whole Navadip area, they observed. These people were so sinful before. And now their character changed and they became so pure that Madhai was given the title Brahmachari. From a rapist to Brahmachari. Pure. And Bengalis are very critical people. I don't know if you know. Extremely sarcastic and critical. They accepted. They accepted Lord Chaitanya. Bam, fully. From that point onwards, Lord Chaitanya's movement in Bengal spread like wildfire. What is this? We only read in Shastra that Bhakti Yoga to Vishnu has this power. It's demonstrated. Out of all people, Jagaya and Madhavi made them so pure, so moral. Their tastes changed. Everything changed. That is pure Bhakti Yoga. That is intense Bhakti Yoga. Ivra Bhakti Yoga. That they should do. They do that, then it's good. But if they say, no, I need some breathing space, go. Don't waste our time, don't contaminate our community. After a few lifetimes, you'll see. Another question, do we have any examples of devotees who fall in the category of Shukram, Bhavati, Dharmatma from Bhagavatam or other scriptures? Ajamila becomes very pure. Became very pure later on. How do we view the position of great devotees like Bhishma, who took the adharmic side of Duryodhana? How to understand this correctly? Prabhupada writes about this in the first canto. Krishna wanted to teach that even if one is a very great devotee, if he takes the wrong side, that side still cannot win. Therefore, until one gets the opportunity to associate with genuine devotees, one should engage in devotional service himself. Does this mean we should associate with pure devotees only? You can see here regarding association, there are 3 instructions given by Srila Rupa Goswami. This is all association. There is first class association, second class association, third class association. First class association, second class association, third class association. And one should associate with devotees as appropriate. One should mentally honor a devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. And if he's only a devotee of that at that level, that's the only thing one should do. That much association alone you should do, not more than that. Rather, if he's chanting the holy name and is undergone spiritual initiation and is engaged in worshipping the deity or the equivalent, worshipping the deity is not just that, also other equivalent devotional services. Then one can mentally offer respects and externally offer obeisances. That's all. But if that person has chanting Hare Krishna, is spiritually initiated, worshipping the deity, engaged in other services, and he is advanced in undeviated devotional service, and his heart is completely devoid of propensity to criticize others, then you should understand that person is a first-class devotee, and that person should be mentally honored, should offer humble obeisances, and one should associate with and faithfully serve him. Associate with means all of this. And all the devotees, one should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Discrimination is required, but only spiritual discrimination, not material discrimination. So there is a way of dealing with it. Show the part where 7 types of worldly people are indicated. Here. Every practicing devotee should know the various types of worldly people. Therefore, we are hereby most unwillingly enumerating these people. So, okay, anything else? Okay, if there are no more questions, or we can stop here. If we have further questions, we can discuss in Telegram. Shakapatra Vyashikapasam Jagdevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.